Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Core and the King.
Hello, my
Zoops,
friend.
How you doing, mate?
Doing mighty swell after my prediction in the NBA just panned out. Unfortunately, my Bucks prediction didn't work out. But that was injury, Sometimes it goes your way, sometimes it doesn't. But my dark horse championship team, the Dallas Mavericks, did the impossible today, and the Phoenix Suns just choked again.
Yeah.
The good old Phoenix Suns.
Another choker.
But yeah, we'll cover that today. Obviously, a lot of NBA action. Some Premier League action that's really heating up, as well as some UFC sort of revelations that have affected the long-term future of that lightweight division.
Yeah.
If Conor can sort of keep his weight down, maybe, but still, some revelations in that division.
We'll talk about it later.
A lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, and we'll finish with a new game of Sweet and Sour, you've called it.
Yeah, it's something I've...
Sponsored by...
Well, we're not sponsored.
We're sponsored by these
yeah,
people.
we are definitely.
Make lollies.
I recently received it as a gift, and it just came up to my head. I'm just full of bright ideas. I'm just such a
What a great
imaginative soul.
You had a $3 bag of lollies as a gift.
Yeah, that's how much my parents love me. But yeah, so it was something that we sort of cooked up, and hopefully y'all like it. So, what's the first topic you'd like to endeavour into?
Let's start with the B-ball, the fresh topic. Obviously, the 2 Game 7s happened this morning as we're recording. Who knows if you'll see it anyway close to this with the time it takes this dude to upload, but
it takes me
it takes you about 3 days.
It takes me about 6 hours. I want to upload at prime time, You don't want to be giving it people at 12 o'clock at night.
Well, if you wait 3 days, everything we talk about is now irrelevant.
Nah, it's not irrelevant.
It is.
People love what we hear. Anyway.
But yeah, conference semis review. Obviously, the 4 teams going through are announced. Heat, Bucks.
No, Celtics.
Mavericks, and Warriors. Now, I think I picked 3 of those series correctly. Obviously, I wasn't on the Dallas train, which, I'll admit, I thought Phoenix would win, but...
You ridiculed me for it publicly. It was quite...
Well, yeah.
It was quite disappointing for me. It was saddening.
I can't believe how bad Phoenix played.
Yeah. So which series would you like to sort of go into first? Which one?
Well, I think we already talked about Heat and Warriors pretty much. But yeah, so we'll talk about Bucks Celtics, I guess. Pretty good series. I think most people thought this was the series of the round. I think this was just a great second round in general, maybe one of the best ever. It was 4 great series. And yeah, obviously Boston pick up the win, home court prevailed. And it was just, I think the Bucks really did miss Middleton because Giannis was playing out of his mind. Probably the best he's ever played in his life. But they just didn't have enough scoring, really. Drew Holiday was inefficient the whole series. And Lopez couldn't produce enough, and Bobby Portis couldn't produce either. So they were just really struggling offensively.
Yeah, well, it was a sort of a prediction that everyone made that this would be the best series. Just matchup-wise, the amount of talent and how well both teams were playing, you knew it was going to be a great series. It was a bit disappointing to see the others for Milwaukee fail in the last 2 games. So they were up 3-2, and Grayson Allen scored 1 point today, I think. You saw guys even though you don't expect much from Wes Matthews, you expect him to hit open shots. Bobby Portis.
He was on the Lakers. And
to be fair, if you play for the Lakers, your career is basically done at this point. But no, I just expected Brook Lopez. I expected the others from Milwaukee to sort of step up in Middleton's absence, because I do rate Milwaukee's sort of depth. And you just really saw today that guys like Grant Williams I think scored 25 points, really came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I think Boston's depth is what came out of this series. I think Grant Williams, I don't think anyone thought he was this good. Al Horford is the best I've seen him play.
Well, Tatum's heroics in Game 6 were the sort of catalyst, I think. Even though Giannis had 44 points in Game 6, Tatum's 46 to sort of propel them. It was basically a duel between those two, and he came out on top. And when you lose that home court Game 6, it's really, really tough to win on the road in a Game 7 where you don't have your second best player. I really thought the Bucks were going to win this series in 6 probably, or maybe 7. It just didn't work out that way. I think the spacing was affected with Middleton gone as well. You felt like Giannis was not in enough pick and roll action where he was the sort of receiver in the pick and roll, where he was setting the picks. You felt like Giannis was taking on too much of the ball. He was bringing the ball up too much, and there was sort of like a running joke in the series that how many charges he'd done and how many charges the refs missed was because he was the one that was constantly had the ball in his hands. I think he's best when he's working off Middleton and Drew, and he's receiving the ball in the low post, and he's just dominating even bigs, smalls, anybody really. So yeah, it was disappointing. I liked the Bucks and I wanted them to win, but the Celtics have proven over the second half of the year that they're a great team, and they're moving on to a tough Heat team who are quite similar to them actually in terms of how good they are as a team. They don't necessarily have an unbelievable superstar. But Jimmy, stop. Jimmy's a star
He's the best
player.
player in the league.
Yeah, okay. But even though Tatum has probably shown in this series that he might be sort of moving up in that level of superstardom, I think that it's just going to be two great teams battling out, and we'll see who wins. It's going to be... I don't even know how to predict that. So we're going to move on to predictions a bit later on, but I don't know how to predict that series. I mean, geez. So we're basically the same teams versing each other.
Well, do you want to just do that now, and then we can move to the West?
Sure. Yeah. We can do a...
So, I mean, yeah, for the Heat Celtics, I've obviously been on the Heat since the start of the playoffs. So I'm going to stick with them. They haven't done me wrong yet. So I'm going to stick with them. I'll say in 7 games because they've got home court. So I'll give them that last game. And I think it's hard because Jimmy might be the best player, but Tatum maybe, but better.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Oh God,
but
tough.
It is
so tough.
Jimmy is just fucking so good in the playoffs, and I don't think this is an outrageous statement. I think he's the best player of all time. No, I'm joking. I think he's the best player of all time to maximizing their potential.
What do you mean?
Well,
Giannis didn't maximize his potential.
No, because Jimmy is nowhere near as gifted athletically as Giannis.
Oh, you mean so with limited talent?
Yeah, with limited talent, I think he's maximized what he has.
I think he's very talented, especially athletically. I think guys like, I don't know, maybe...
I don't know, because he's not...
Jokic, I think, is probably maximized his level. It's a debate, really, but I do understand in terms of personal growth how he's developed as an offensive player. I do understand your point. Look, this series is such a tough one to predict, as I just said. I just feel like it'll go to game 7 again. I think they're just so equally matched in terms of how good they are in a depth perspective. I think it does depend on Kyle Lowry's health as well. I'm not too sure.
They've been playing better without him.
Yeah, but I do think when he's healthy, he provides them something defensively that they don't have without him. I'm gonna roll with the Celtics. I think the confidence level is one thing, but I think that home court advantage that they showed that they had throughout this series, and I think it'll improve even more that atmosphere in the Garden. And how much Boston love their Celtics. I just feel like that home court's going to be so elite and so hard to sort of win if you're a road team.
But they don't have home court.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, if they win their home games, I think they'll win all their home games, and I think they could steal a game away. That's probably what I'm thinking. And I'm predicting it probably would be game 7 where they'd steal it. But look, no one's going to be... You can't be wrong for picking either the Heat or Celtics in this situation. Both teams are in a great vein of form. It's just up to superstars and how they perform, really. I think it's... these sort of... I mean, we'll move on to the West in a minute, but I think these conference finals are probably the closest that we've seen in a long time. You saw last year... And I mean, previous to last year, it was always Curry and LeBron. But you saw last year, the Clippers, had a Kawhi Leonard down. It was against the Suns. What are you laughing about?
Well, you're just mentioning the Clippers when they don't deserve to be mentioned.
Well, okay, I was referencing last year and the difference between last year and this year. I'm not fucking gloating about the Clippers.
Okay, good. I thought you were going to compliment. I thought you were going to say they were really good last year. And
they were. But if we had... I mean, I could go on for years about how if we had Kawhi Leonard, we would have beat the Suns. But anyway, the Suns had a significant advantage in that series. And who were the Bucks? Who did the Bucks versus in the conference finals last year?
Hawks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Was it the Hawks? Yeah.
So it was the Hawks.
They have to be one of the worst teams ever to make a conference.
So yeah, it was a bit. The conference finals last year were a bit skewed, but this year it's just dead even between both West and East. So I'm really intrigued to see it. I think Jimmy versus Tatum's a marquee matchup, and I'm hopeful. I do want to see the Celtics do well. I think when you have a great fan base, you always want to see that.
How can you like the Celtics?
Because I like seeing great fan bases versus great fan bases. I don't want to see the Hawks versus, I don't know, Sacramento in the finals. Like, I just don't want to see limp sort of fan bases.
But fan bases grow with the team.
I understand that, but
I guarantee you, if Sacramento make the finals, they'll have fans.
Yeah, I understand that, but I just think historically, I think it's cool as well how you have the Celtics back on top. I like tradition, I like history, so
fuck the Celtics, the Lakers rivals.
Well, yeah, you're a Lakers fan, so I'm not surprised by that. But I do root for the Celtics in this series, and I think they might pull it out in 7.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so we'll move on to the West. What was it? Oh yeah, Dallas absolutely destroyed Phoenix. One of the worst Game 7 performances maybe we've ever seen.
Not if, or maybe. Definitely the worst Game 7
Okay, definitely.
27 points and a half. I mean, that is shocking.
It was not great.
I mean, it was a 33-point difference at the end, and it wasn't that close.
Yeah.
It was... If Dallas would have kept their foot on the pedal, could have easily been 50, 55-point difference at the end. I mean, it was embarrassing for the Suns.
Yeah, and it's, to be fair, like, Luka, I knew Luka would be great. What did he average? Like 35 in the series?
35, 9 and 8 or something.
Yeah, but today, like, Dinwiddie scored 30, Brunson scored 24. That's what I didn't expect to happen. And to be fair to them, they came up big in the tough moments, whereas Devin Booker and Chris Paul just vanished from existence, which is, I didn't expect.
Yeah,
just didn't see it happening.
I think we might transition a bit onto Devin Booker and his sort of transition from underrated to overrated. But yeah, it was embarrassing from the Suns. You can't have home court. The fact that it's home court as well. Imagine paying money to see, oh my God, I'm going to see a Game 7. Let's go Suns. And you just rock up there and you score 27 points in the first half. How do you even stay in the build? Like, I usually don't like how fans sort of leave early to get a sort of easier trip home because you pay for your tickets. You should stay and support your team. But man, when you're getting blown out by like 40 at home in a Game 7, I don't blame those Phoenix Suns fans for leaving. Just all over. They just couldn't make any easy shots. They couldn't make any hard shots. They couldn't rebound. I mean, it was embarrassing. If Luka Doncic had 27 points in that first half, the same amount that the Phoenix Suns' entire team had. Maxi Kleber made one shot, and it was more than Chris Paul and Devin Booker had combined.
Yeah.
It was just an absolutely shocking... And you've got to give credit to the Mavs. I think Dinwiddie stepped up massively in that first half, and Brunson really finished them off in that third quarter and played really well in that quarter. So both Brunson and Dinwiddie played great in that game. They stepped up. Luka obviously steps up. He always steps up. And my prediction of a dark horse Mavs finals run is looking very, very good, my friend.
I really didn't see it happening.
I just saw it in the playoffs, but they just got blocked by a good team for 2 years in a row, and they have stepped up their He hates when I bring up the Clippers. I don't know why.
A good team that didn't go much further than past the Mavs.
Well, we had a good team. But this year they have improved their defense massively. Their defensive rating is, what was it, top 10 or top 15? I think it must have been top 10
in the
NBA.
If they're scoring 27 points and a half,
but yeah,
it's pretty good.
They've improved massively defensively this year under Jason Kidd. And God, it was just... I wanted to watch it, but it was like... I think I watched it a bit late. I was like, oh, damn, the Suns are playing. I should start watching it. And it was 27 points at halftime. And I'm like, okay, I'll rewatch it, I guess. I mean, I need to watch what happened. I mean, Jesus Christ, how did it get to this point? But yeah, man, I think Luka just asserted his dominance ever since Devin Booker called him out for flopping or whatever. And some of the memes that have arisen from this game is just and it's truly spectacular.
Yeah. It's another year that Chris Paul gets early in the playoffs. He's playing great. He gets all this flowers. He's one of the best point guards of all
Well,
time.
it needs to be discussed.
And then
his sort of chokeability.
It's just another year where he comes up short, and it's not a coincidence anymore. It can't be a coincidence.
No, it can't be.
The amount of chances, incredible teams he's been on.
Well, I wouldn't say incredible, but
I think you're saying
definitely contenders.
I think you're saying 10 years at least where he's been on a legitimate contender.
Yeah, I mean, he's lost 4 Game 7s in a row. I saw on Twitter.
Yeah, and it's I don't know. He only took 8 shots the entire game.
But you can't. You've got to blame Devin Booker as well for this. You've got to blame DeAndre Ayton. Chris Paul, as good as he still is a good player, he's more of a leader in that team. He shouldn't shoulder the responsibility of scoring 25 points a game. Devin Booker's got to score at least 30 in a Game 7. Ayton, they're not playing any big guys. They're going small. You should be dominating against them. But I don't know what happened. I mean, the Suns passed on Luka in the draft to draft Ayton, and he fell apart towards the end of the series. Yeah, wow. Ayton was 1, Bagley was 2, and Doncic was 3.
Wow. That has to be one of the worst picks of all time.
Well, Bagley was pretty bad from the Kings. I mean, Jesus Christ. But yeah, it was just embarrassing for the Suns, and they've got to look at themselves. Is it going to be a Utah Jazz situation where they're at the top?
Well, yeah,
in terms of regular season, but when it comes to the playoffs, they went further than the Jazz. They got to the finals last year. But you look at we just looked at it then. You looked at the run. They versed a Lakers team that had no Anthony Davis. Or was it? But you were injured the whole time.
We were winning, and then AD got injured, and then we lost. So
yeah, Anthony Davis got injured. Second round, they versed the Nuggets, who didn't have Jamal Murray. Third round, you versed the Clippers, who didn't have Kawhi Leonard. And then when you went to the finals, you blew another 2-0 lead to a healthy Bucks team, and you lost. So was that run kind of fortuitous? Definitely. Are they overrated now? Are they the Utah Jazz? Do they need to reevaluate their team?
I don't think we can call them the Utah Jazz, but I do think their window is very, very small. I think it's next year or bust.
Well, I think they should reevaluate their squad like the Jazz. They need to look at their team and say, not blow it up, but what can we add? What player can we add that will make a significant difference in the playoffs?
Well, JaVale McGee.
Oh, of course, JaVale.
His quote. He was like, I'm the piece they need to win the championship.
JaVale, of course he is.
Mate, Bismack Biyombo's getting minutes over you.
Yeah, it's not that great.
Calm down, mate.
But yeah, and looking forward to the Warriors Mavericks series. Who do you pick to come out of that?
I'm going to go with the Warriors.
Oh, of course you are. You're always against me, aren't you? You'll never ride with me.
I can't pick the Mavs.
You can't be that wrong about them and then pick them.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think the Mavs have a good enough team. But
well, they obviously do because they just beat them.
I know, but it's so weird. It's because it's. It's a one-man team. They don't have a second start.
I did say, didn't I?
I know, but it's crazy. I don't know if this has ever happened before since LeBron. Who's done this other than LeBron in the past decade?
Yeah, well, Doncic is on another level.
Like a legitimate one-man team. There's not another all-star on the team.
Well, I did say Doncic was on another level. Even though it's a limited amount of playoff appearances, sort of compare to LeBron and Jordan, but his performances are on that level.
Yeah,
I mean,
I saw the other day he's
leading point scorer in the playoff history,
just behind Jordan.
Yeah,
all time he's second.
Well, I mean, yeah, again, it's a limited amount of games. He hasn't played, obviously. The amount of games as other people have in the playoffs.
It's three seasons now, so it's
it's a lot.
It's a decent sample size.
But yeah, he is the future of the NBA, and you can just see it with the way that he plays. And I am picking the Mavs for this series. I think I've got to ride with my dark horse, man. I got to ride and die with them. I look at that team, and I think you did say there is not another All-Star on that team, and that's true. There isn't another All-Star. But there's about 10 dudes that can give you 10 points easy. 10 to 15 easy in a game. And that is really important in the playoffs. And I think the TNT crew sort of picked up on it. You've got Dinwiddie, Brunson, and Doncic who will most likely perform. Doncic and Dinwiddie... Dinwiddie and Brunson, you want them, or you expect them to score probably around 20 a game in the playoffs. 15 to 20 at least.
Yeah. Well,
you have Doncic, who's scoring 35 a game in the playoffs. but you'd always have one other wild card guy, a Bullock or a Finney Smith or a Kleber, a guy that's going to score, a surprising 15 points as well, a surprise 15, 20 points as well. So these points just stack up, and you see the improvements that they've made defensively, and you're like, wow, this team is just such a cohesive unit that is centered around one guy. I mean, Doncic does have to perform at an elite level. He does have to score 35 a night. But when he does do that, he's got the support and a lot of shooters around him that help him sort of have a playmaking role as well and be more open when he does do one-on-ones. And I look at the Warriors team, they look dodgy.
But they're winning easily.
I wouldn't say easily. I mean, they got blown out by like 50. Without Ja, it was really dodgy.
Yeah, but they're
couple of those games.
playing horrendously, but they're still winning somehow.
Well, Grizzlies didn't have Ja, and it was dodgy. I mean, and not even the 50-point loss game. The game before that, I didn't think they did deserve to win. I thought they were very lucky to get away with that. They didn't play well at all. It's a very scrapey game. And I think Doncic...
But they've just got the runs on the board.
Yeah, but I just think the Mavericks will punish the Warriors. The Grizzlies didn't have the firepower or the star power, ultimately, to punish the Warriors for playing bad games. Games not to their potential, but the Mavericks definitely do have the talent in Luka Doncic to punish them. So I think it's going to be another great series, great matchup. Quite similar, I think. I think because of Klay Thompson's sort of downfall. He's not...
I don't think you can say he's a downfall.
Well,
He's had a few bad games.
But he is lower in his production. I think he's more of a...
He's definitely not as good as he was
He's
pre-injury.
Yeah, but I think you've got one key superstar in both teams. You've got Steph Curry on one team, you've got Doncic on the other. And I take Doncic over Curry in terms of player performances right now, but that's just by the by. And then I think you've got a bunch of really solid role players. And the Warriors have got Poole, Thompson, Draymond. And I think the Mavericks have got similar guys like that. I think maybe Poole and Thompson may be a bit better on their day than Brunson and Dinwiddie, but still, I just think that they're very comparable teams, but I look at the key superstar from each team, I think will be the difference maker. And if Curry can perform at his best, the Warriors can definitely win this series, but I have faith that Doncic will outperform Curry, and I think they'll win in probably 6.
I know. Yeah, in the NBA, everyone talks about, best player usually wins, but it's not always like that,
It's not always like that.
We just saw Giannis lose. We just saw Embiid lose.
Well, yeah, it's not always like that, but I'm saying when you've got teams that are this comparable in terms of depth, in terms of not only depth, but the way that they play, how they sort of base around three-pointers and fast ball movement, they've got a very similar teams, and I think that have good defensive rating as well. So I think it will be a battle between which superstar can perform the best. And I have my money on Doncic. Okay. So that's why.
I think this Warriors run kind of gives me like Last Dance vibes.
Last Dance vibes, really?
Yeah, because they've been down for a few years and now it's the old gang back together and they're just sending it.
Well, I can tell you what.
I know that game
against
they're younger than...
I don't recall the Chicago Bulls with Michael Jordan losing by 50 points against the Memphis Grizzlies. I don't recall that, do I?
Well, I'm sure they lost a couple games.
Yeah, not by 50. I can guarantee you that. But yeah, I do think the Warriors are a definite contender to get to the finals, but I just have my money on the Mavs because of Luka Doncic and how much I believe in him. He's my Slovenian brother from another mother. I mean, that's just
He'll have his time, but not yet.
Not yet. I mean, the dude's averaging 35 a game. You're saying he's not ready to perform in the playoffs?
Well, I think it's just not his time to win a championship.
It's not his time. Do you have some crystal ball that you're not letting us all in on?
Well, yeah.
You're just...
The crystal ball is my brain.
Of course. You're just the genius.
And my brain tells me it's not his time.
It's a psychic genius, of course.
Okay. I think... you want to talk about Europe taking over the NBA?
Yeah, sure. I think it is beginning to become a real trend, and it's been sort of mentioned a couple times in the media, but you look at the 3 best performers. I wouldn't say best players, but best performers in the NBA right now. Doncic, Giannis, Jokic. All European players. All overseas players. You've got a young player coming out of the draft. You won't know him, but he's a French dude called Wembanyama, who torched Rudy Gobert.
Don't forget Rudy Gobert.
I mean...
he's going to be 4th.
Oh my God, I forgot. Rudy Gobert is actually one of them. No, but seriously, I think that the European talent has drastically increased from what it was, and that misconception, I should add, about European players coming out that they're bad, they're soft, they can only shoot threes. I think it should be thrown away in the bin at this moment. You know, you got these elite European players that are running the NBA. I mean, you listen to their post-match press conferences, and it's sort of refreshing how you got all these foreign accents that are just running the NBA, and the Americans just can't handle it. I think.
You got Embiid.
It's just they
from Africa, but
Embiid has got African roots as well. I think he's from Cameroon. But yeah, it's just surprising how quickly it's happened though. It feels like a flick of a switch. Like yesterday, it was Curry, LeBron, and Durant, but now it's Doncic, Jokic, and Giannis. I'd like to hear your opinion on it as well. Do you think that there's going to become a sort of bigger European trend, or do you think do you think Americans will recover and sort of take over the NBA once again?
Well, I don't think it will be what it was, so American dominated, because it's just growing. It's becoming more of a global sport. More people are playing it. It was in America. It's already the sport, so everyone plays. You either play basketball or football, pretty much. Or
baseball. That's stupid sport.
Yeah, that's for white people
and Cubans. But yeah.
So I don't see like the talent pool growing in America necessarily because everyone already plays it. So the talent can only grow in places like Europe or Africa or Australia or whatever. So yeah, I think that the stats show that the league is definitely becoming more diverse, and that the overseas players are having more of an impact. They're not just shitty role players like Patty Mills or
you saw in the sort of the Olympics and you can see it progressively year on year that the Americans are finding it more difficult and more difficult each year to win. They're losing games in sort of Olympic competition, so it's quite interesting to see how these European nations are sort of developing, and international as well. I'm not just talking about Europeans. You mentioned Embiid from Africa and Simmons from Australia. No. We don't claim him at the moment, but Simmons. I mean, he had surgery apparently. That's the sort of rumors that's going out there.
Massage is not surgery.
I went to a hospital where they perform surgery, so technically I could have had surgery. But yeah, I do think it's a trend that's good for the NBA. I think it's sort of proving Adam Silver right that he wanted to sort of expand to outer regions and to different countries, including China and that untapped Asian market. But I would like to see this continue, and I think it is going to continue. You've got, I'm not too sure if we're going to discuss it, but I think for the next 10 years, the NBA will be a battle between Giannis and Luka, which is, I mean, you've never seen that before in any American sport or in any American league. You haven't seen two European guys. You might have seen Dirk be up there, but not at that level. But have two international guys be the face of the NBA for the next 10 years. I think it's going to be quite interesting. And it's something that not many people are talking about in terms of the changing demographic of the NBA. And you've got, I know you don't like baseball, but Shohei Ohtani.
You like baseball?
I don't, but I do keep up with American sports. But Shohei Ohtani, Japanese fella, he's one of the revelations of Major League Baseball, and you're just seeing these American leagues being infiltrated by international players, and it's great to see, and it's sort of shedding a light onto these American leagues that I think are underrated. I think even though I don't like when Americans call football soccer and they call their American football, I do enjoy the sport a lot. I do like the sport a lot. I think it's a really good sport. I don't enjoy baseball quite as much, but I do think there are interesting American sports. And I do like to see that international people are and international players are sort of flooding into these leagues and making it more interesting and making it more competitive.
Yeah. Speaking of international players improving, and American players declining, we kind of touched on it before, but we can, talk some more shit about Devin Booker.
D-Book.
The vanishing act he performed.
I think I sort of put it down in the notes that he went so quickly from being underrated to overrated. It's ridiculous. Not by fans, but by the media. I think the media didn't mention him.
He came fourth in MVP voting, I think.
this year, over Luka, he was voted an MVP, which is, I mean, a bit ridiculous. And I think it's not his fault, but he's just, in my opinion, he's a second option on a championship level team. He can be a first option on a really good team, and a playoff team even, like you see with the Suns. But I just think he has to be a second option on a championship level contender. He doesn't do enough on a basketball court anymore. You see LeBron, Giannis, Luka, they're elite level passers, or they're elite level defenders, or the elite level rebound. They do so much on a basketball court. They carry their team through it. And Devin Booker without Chris Paul, prior to Chris Paul, scored a lot of points, but won 15 games.
Yeah, was last every year.
And I think he's shown that he cannot carry a team throughout a series. He can have great games in playoff games, but I think he's shown in these playoffs that he can't carry a team throughout. And it's no fault of his own, but when the media compared him to Kobe Bryant, I think it's getting a bit too far. And his rating to those levels are great. Just because he plays or he has a similar play style doesn't mean he's as good as them. And he had a great season this year. I'm not going to sort of diminish his accomplishments during the regular season, where I think he averaged like 27 a game or something. But he's not the number one superstar that I think a lot of the media portrays him as.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, if you're scoring 11 points in a game 7 of the second round, it's just there's something gone on. You just can't have a performance like that.
But what I do want to ask you a quick question. If you compared him to Chris, I know he's a better scorer than Chris Middleton, but if you compare the two, are they that different, do you reckon, in terms of being... Because Middleton's an elite second option, but do you think Booker is that type of player?
I think Booker is better than Middleton. I think there's just more ways he can score.
Yeah.
But I see what you mean. Like, if Giannis was on the Suns, do I think Booker would play a similar role to Middleton? Yeah, I think he probably would.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe that is more his type of role, but I don't know, because he did look so good in the regular season. Like, he looked like a guy that could potentially be that number one option, but I don't know, for whatever reason, it just didn't happen for him in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's a bit early to say he can't be that guy, because it is only his second season of doing that. It's not like James Harden where he's had 15 tries at it.
Yeah. Or Chris Paul.
Yeah. But I don't know. I'm not like on his head that hard like, Ben Simmons, but
well, Ben Simmons is not a professional athlete. He's a windrow.
Flight had a bit of a rage at Devin Booker today. He said he's like top 5 overrated players in the league.
Well, that's what reminded me of the topic, really. And I was like, hang on, he might have a point here.
Yeah,
it is a bit of a point.
It's so funny that dude, because like two games ago he would have been saying Devin Booker is like top 5 player.
Yeah, before he watched the highlights, he was like, "I've got the Suns in here. Devin Booker is going to be too much," and it's like,
and he just looks at the box score and he's like, "What? You went to work for 38 minutes and scored 11 points."
It was embarrassing, but yeah, overall, I think he was underrated for a long time because of how bad that Suns team was, and I think he was a good player on that Suns team, but he just wasn't. I mean, he was talked about how he was snubbed for All-Star games year on year. I mean, people mentioned it, how he should have made the All-Star, like Damian Lillard.
Not really Lillard level of stuff.
Yeah, not Lillard level, but still on a pretty high level. I mean, people thought that he was snubbed multiple times for an All-Star consideration. But now he's viewed as the future of the NBA and this next generational superstar, when I think he's closer to Chris Middleton than he is to, I don't know, Luka or Kobe or whoever people compare him to.
KD.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's closer to Chris Middleton. And I think he's better than Middleton. But, I mean, Middleton plays better defense than Booker. He's probably a better playmaker than Booker. Now, Booker's a much better scorer than Middleton. And even though they both can create their own shot, I think he's better at creating his own shot, Booker. But I think they're quite similar in terms of if they both play a second fiddle role, they can be very effective on a championship level team. However, if they're the first option, you're going to be seeing games where they score 11 points and you don't have another massive option or another superstar level player to carry that performance and score a 30 bomb.
I think it can also be hard for a 2 guard
Well,
to
Doncic
be,
is
to be enough. Yeah, but Doncic plays the point guard.
yeah.
Like, he has like the highest usage rate in the league.
Positions now aren't as defined. Booker could easily play
I know,
that role.
but I'm saying like the way Devin Booker plays, he doesn't have the passing game of a point guard or the rebounding game of a big man. So he doesn't.
Well, I mean, Middleton's a 2 guard.
Yeah, but he's not a number one option.
But well, that's what I'm saying.
Exactly. So I'm saying I think just the way he plays limits how good he can be.
Yeah.
And it's just is what it is. I think in history, most of the great players like LeBron or Giannis, these players that win championships are big men or point guards that can do a lot of things. And if you're just an elite level scorer, we've seen players like that come unstuck a lot, like KD recently and now Booker. So that's it.
That's it.
Yeah, I
Good analysis.
hope you enjoyed that.
All right, moving on. Is there more basketball, or do you want to move on to...
You can talk about, have a little Prem talk.
A bit of Prem talk. I thought it's quite interesting. It looked dead in the water, the Prem battle. I mean, one or two games ago, it was like, oh, Arsenal's getting 4th. City are winning the Premier League. And then Burnley or Everton are getting relegated. But now, I mean, the relegation battle's heating up. The top 4 battle is heating up. I mean, I don't like saying it, but the top 6 battle with Manchester United's heating up, which I don't like being in, because West Ham got a point, which means if they win and we lose next game, then we're in Conference League, baby. So get used to it.
What does that mean?
It means that they replace us in the Europa League and we get Conference League. It's the...
They're not even going to be Europa.
No.
Oh my
So
God.
that race is on. I mean, wow. I'm ashamed to say, but also the Prem title is being opened a bit. Liverpool could still win the quadruple because they won the FA Cup the other day.
I know, I see so many people like quadruples on.
It is on. I mean, if City bottle it, and they're playing Steven Gerrard.
What? They're playing Steven Gerrard?
Well, Steven Gerrard manages Aston Villa, and City are playing him.
Oh, I thought you meant like they're playing him.
No,
they're putting him on the field.
Yeah, Stevie G's back. He's coming back. No, so City are playing Aston Villa on the final day. Steven Gerrard manages Aston Villa. Imagine if
he's going to put his try.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine if Steven Gerrard? I mean, he threw the game. Nobody can tell me he threw the game against Liverpool. He could have won that game or gotten a point out of it. He's like, lads, I will not be accepted back in Liverpool if we lose this game. We've got to kind of lose it. But yeah, if he was the one to win Liverpool the title, I just couldn't. Oh God, it would make up for his slip. It would make up.
Who does he play for? Aston Villa.
He doesn't play for. He manages Aston Villa. But yeah, that's such an interesting final day, final week really of the Premier League season, and it's heating up. And Liverpool, if they won the quadruple, I mean, it would just be so painful. We'd have nothing over them anymore. The treble is the only sort of marker. Well, we won the treble. If they win the quadruple, it's just awful. They've
won 1 or 2 already.
They've won the Carabao Cup and they've won the FA Cup. They're in the Champions League final, and there's 1 game left in the Premier League. So,
Karim Benzema's not going to let
come on,
win.
Karim the dream. Let's go. But yeah, I just thought I'd sort of tap into that, and I'll be either very happy or very sad next podcast when Liverpool eventually win the Champions League and the Premier League.
Let's go,
Come on, Real. I've always been your fan, Real. Come on.
When you had Ronnie, I was your fan.
Yeah, I mean, we're all Ronnie fans here. So, moving on.
UFC, I don't know if it was 274, but I'm going to call it 274. The last pay-per-view card, whatever number it was.
Good. That's good research.
It happened a while ago, over a week ago now, but, we haven't done an episode since then, so... Yeah, it was a pretty crazy card. A lot of big things came out of the weekend, but I think for me, the biggest thing was that Conor McGregor won the most out of that weekend, and he didn't fight.
If he was to get his foot in the door now, I mean, Jesus.
Well, yeah, because you had Michael Chandler pull up so far the knockout of the year on Tony Ferguson. Just, my God, he nearly died. He's lucky to be alive, and he's already talking about, just a setback. I'm on my way back, boys. I'm going for the belt. I've
got beat up.
Just the level of delusional you have to be a fighter is insane.
Well, I mean, Tony is a bit more delusional than the average fighter as well. He's a bit more.
Yeah.
He's a bit more.
But, I mean, to be fair, it was a crazy fight. Like, he dropped Chandler twice in the first round. So, it's not like he looked terrible, but he just got sent to space. So,
But he always had an unbelievable chin. He's just been hit that many times. Like Chuck Liddell, his chin is just deteriorating.
But basically Chandler puts him out and then gets on the mic and delivers a pretty good promo, I will say. And what does he do? He calls out Conor McGregor. So Conor McGregor has a potential for a Chandler fight, which is easily a number one contender fight. Oh, what the fuck is that saying? Oh, it doesn't matter. But yeah, so he's got a number one contender fight potentially with Chandler at 55, although he said he doesn't want to cut weight. So Chandler said, I'll go up to 70. We can do it at 70. So that's an option. And then we'll skip the co-main event because nobody gives a fuck about that fight. I didn't watch it, but apparently it's the worst title fight in history.
What was that? The Rose
fight. Because there was about, in 20 minutes of fighting, I think they did that 4 times, and there was 1 takedown, and the judges just had to score it somehow.
Nice. Looks like a very... I thought Rose was more brutal than that. I thought she was...
Well, she was obviously mentally fucked up from the first fight because Carla already beat her, so she was so scared to attack because of being taken down.
She beat Joanna Jędrzejczyk twice.
Yeah, and Wei Li. Like these... Well, the thing is now you got the rematch of Joanna and Wei Li, which is the best female fight ever. They're doing the rematch like next month, I think. And if Joanna wins that, she'll get a title shot. And she could become champ again, which is pretty crazy.
I do like Joanna. Joanna's she's Polish, isn't she? Hard.
Yeah.
A hard son of a bitch. Or daughter of a bitch, I shall say. But yeah, I think the Conor McGregor angle was pretty interesting. He could get his foot in the door. Obviously, with the numbers he pulls, Dana wants him. He's praying that he can make a comeback. He's like, oh my God, please, Conor. So do you think it would be Chandler Conor next? And if Conor wins it, he can go for the belt?
I don't know. But it's in so many options right now because Diaz has now come out and said he wants Chandler.
Oh, God.
And the UFC is absolutely holding Nate Diaz. They do not like him right now because he has 1 fight left on his deal. And he said, I'm not re-signing. I'm leaving after this. So the UFC are basically refusing to book him a fight just so they can keep him locked up, basically.
Does he even get paid? Or
no, he doesn't get paid. The only fight they want to offer him is Hamzat, just so he can be killed before he leaves.
Yeah.
So the UFC is absolutely holding Nate Diaz right now. But there was a photo of him like taking a piss outside the UFC building, just on the floor. Just pissing on it.
He's such a troll, dude.
Yeah, and but then obviously in the lightweight title fight, Oliveira finishes Gaethje after being dropped twice once again, submits him in the first round. So Oliveira is holding the record, I think, for the most times he's been dropped and come back to win the fight.
Well, that's why Conor could win. He could beat Oliveira. He could catch him.
But you can't beat him because if you drop him, you can't finish him.
Yeah, but Conor's got a better left hand than probably anybody.
But Oliveira's striking is still really good. Like, he knocked Gaethje down clean and then finished him on the ground. But then Charles Oliveira gets on the mic and he calls out Conor McGregor for a title fight. So you can sack off the Chandler fight and go straight for the title.
Yeah. Dana's like, yeah. Like, if you say so, mate. Dana's like, yeah, whatever you say, buddy.
Yeah, that's just how powerful his star status is. Because they stripped him of the belt because he missed weight by half a pound. But
how did he not cut that half a pound in like an hour?
I don't know.
Was that a bit rigged? Do you think that's a bit of UFC?
Apparently the scales were kind of dodgy, like they were.
I don't know why they use the old-fashioned scales. Why can't they just use a regular scale, like the one that you buy?
I don't know.
They just have to use the most old-fashioned ones where you have to tap it.
It obviously picks it up to the milligram or whatever on the professional one, but it's crazy because Charles Oliveira has got that many options. You know, realistically, Islam is probably the number one contender, but you've got Dariush, you've got Chandler who just won.
Yeah, but does Dana want fucking Dariush or Conor McGregor fighting for the title?
He doesn't want Dariush, obviously, but and he just calls out Conor, even though the dude hasn't won a fight since 2016.
He wants that money, bro.
6 years it's been since he won a fight in this division, but it's
Conor McGregor. A title shot. He's a fucking Irishman.
We could be in line for one of the craziest fights ever if they booked the Conor fight.
It would be pretty crazy. I don't know. I think there would be an uproar out of the UFC community, though. I mean, everyone that takes UFC seriously would be like, what the actual F is going on?
Everyone's saying wow, it could happen, but they're like, oh, could it? I don't know.
Yeah, but they're like, how does he deserve it? He beat Cowboy, who was on his last legs anyway,
He
really.
doesn't deserve it.
But
That's why it's funny.
again, though, but he did lose to like the best. It's not like he lost to your average Joe. He did lose to Khabib and Poirier. So it's not like he lost. And he has been injured and he has had setbacks. So I don't think it's necessarily his fault that he's lost, that he's not in a contention or shouldn't be in contention for a championship. I just think he's lost to the best and he's had COVID and he's obviously COVID sort of disrupted everything and the UFC didn't want to put him in when there was no fans because that'd just be suicide for them. But yeah, I don't really understand how he could still get it though, but I do think the UFC will try and set up an easy fight for him first and then give him the title.
But I don't think.
But when is he coming back? I thought surely his leg must be healed by now.
Dana's like such a downer. Every time someone asks him, it's like, Connor's not even fit right now. I'm not going to talk about him. It's like, bro, he's fucking ready to go. I can see it.
He's a bit chubby, but he's drinking in pubs, but he's ready to go.
Yeah.
Trust. If you call him up tomorrow and ask him to fight for the title, he's in there like swimwear. He's in there.
Yeah, but it's I don't know, because the only easy fight really for him is Nate, which isn't even an easy fight. But because he's so big, you can't give him an easy fight.
Yeah.
Because every fight he has is a money fight, so you have to give him like a Gaethje or a Poirier or an Oliveira or something. Like, mate, Tony, fuck, you can't give him Tony now. But that won't do anything.
He might, though. That's what I'm saying. He might give him a Tony and then give him a title shot.
I don't think you can, because if he beats Tony now, that doesn't earn you a title shot because Tony's so
nothing
trash.
will.
But if you lose to Tony, that just finishes you. You're done.
Yeah.
So he has so much to lose against Tony and not much to win, in my opinion.
But I think he'd beat Tony.
I don't know. I really don't think Connor's that good. I haven't seen that much from him.
Back in the day, he was
in the day, he was insane, but I just don't know.
No, well, I think the thing with Connor is when he's always been naturally bigger than his opponent, he's dominated. Like, you look when he was in the featherweight division and he was naturally big for that division, and obviously, scarily, he looked like a ghost at some of the weigh-ins. But you looked when he was a lot taller or stronger than his opponents, he just dominated them. And then when you looked at who did he beat? Eddie. He lost to Nate Diaz, but I mean that was obviously 170. I think they fought at the first fight. But you look at Eddie Alvarez. He's a midget, so he's good at fighting people that are shorter than him and small in stature than him. So I do think that he needs to stop talking about Kamaru Usman and all that sort of jazz because he'll get dominated. Or even Colby Covington. He can't go up to that weight class. He's got to go to Oliveira and the lightweight division. So I do think he can win in that division.
Honestly, I think his chances are just as good at beating Usman as they are Oliveira.
Really?
Yeah. Because Usman's kind of chinny and he's pretty old, so...
Yeah, but Usman just would do what Khabib did and just ball.
But I don't know if Usman could finish him on the ground. He doesn't really have the submission threat that Khabib does. So
yeah, but Khabib didn't submission him.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, but he mauled him. He didn't.
Yeah, but I don't think Usman's on that level. I think his wrestling is insane. I think you could get him on the ground, but I don't think he could do.
But I think he could keep it. Yeah, I know, but I think he could keep him.
Yeah, I think he could keep on the ground for sure. But at the start of each round, it's on the feet, and that's when Conor has his chance.
Well, I mean that's the same with anyone.
But with Oliveira, if it's on the ground, he's done. 30 seconds, he's out of there. He's not surviving more than a minute on the ground with Oliveira.
Yeah, but it's interesting. I hope he gets a title shot eventually because I just love Conor, but I don't see how he beats any contender. Or Dana. I don't think Dana feeds him any true contender for that lightweight title. I just don't think Dana would risk it.
I think Chandler fight's all right. I think that's a winnable fight.
Yeah, but I think he loses.
I think Chandler's one of the more winnable fights because he's hittable.
Yeah. All I want to see is Conor at his best, but I do think he's in that territory of Nate Diaz territory where he's just going to be fighting big names, that Jorge Masvidal level. I don't think he's ever going to get back to his best, and I think he's just going to be fighting big names from now on. But who knows? Who knows? But I do hope.
I know
to see him at the top,
as always.
Moving on.
Okay, new segment.
New segment. Do you want to introduce it?
Okay. So how it's gonna work is I'm gonna
introduce it, mate. Say what's it called?
Let's go sweet or sour.
Sweet or sour.
We'll work on the name, but
Nice name. It's not that
it's
bad.
all right. How it'll work is I'll give a statement or a question to Ollie, and then you'll pick out of there. I don't know. You have to do it. Yeah. I'll have these, and you'll pick out of here. So we've got the different flavors of these. Oh shit. These lollies. Shout out to Natural Confectionery for sponsoring once again. But so he'll pick out one of these lollies, and based on the flavor, he has to either agree with the statement or disagree with it, and then fucking make his argument, even if he believes it or not, right? So the sour flavors are lemon and orange, and that means you have to disagree with what I say. And the other flavors, I don't know, whatever they are, they're sweet, which means you have to agree.
I've actually forgotten my segment for you, so I'm just gonna.
You forgot it. It was. I've got it here.
What is it? Let me view it. Oh, okay, yeah, there it is.
Okay, so I think the easiest way to do this, so you can't see what flavor you're picking, is I just put one in my left hand, one in my right hand. And you just pick one hand.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
So you just put your hands out like that. Okay.
Okay.
All right. This is the drum roll, please. Do we have it? We don't have a drum roll on here. No, we don't have a drum roll. Sorry. Do we? That's our drum roll. Lovely. Oh, eeny, meeny, miny, moe. No. Jesus is telling me to pick this one. Sweet. All right.
So you agreeing
on what? What is the topic?
So the topic.
Oh, sorry. Sorry for the drum roll. Late drum roll.
So the topic is
good chat.
So the topic is beer is better than cruises.
You're gonna give me the lolly? Or you're just gonna?
Do you want the lolly?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, what was it?
Beer.
Beer is better than cruises.
Oh fuck.
And you have to agree, which is unfortunate for you.
Yeah. Radio.
I want at least a 30-minute argument.
30-minute argument. Okay. Well, beer is a very classical drink. It's a hard man's drink. If you're a working class man, you'll love a good beer. And I will say, I'm not going to necessarily take Australian beer, but English beer or European beer,
No, Australian beer.
So for a Guinness, for example, I love Guinness, and I will take a Guinness.
It's not beer.
Guinness is beer, you idiot.
It's soy sauce.
You're an idiot. Okay. Guinness is a fantastic beer. I will drink Guinness till the cows come home, especially when you have it draft. You don't have a lot of draft Guinness in Australia, but in England and Ireland, unbelievable drink. And I take that over. Cruises are good, but when you're going out, it leaves a stain on your lips. And you're walking into the club and you're like, and he asks you how many you had to drink, and you're like, and you've got lips stained with cruises, obviously cruises, and you're like, nah, nothing, mate, I've had nothing. And he's like, well, you've got blue all over your lips.
Why would you say nothing? That's sus. You say 4. That's a good number.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
Because then they think, oh, looking at your fucking size or looking at my size, like, oh god, he's a bit skinny. He might be done. He might be done after another 2. But yeah, it just looks too dodgy when you're going out. It leaves too much of a stain. When your breath smells like you're like just so airy, and beer, even though it's a very you don't get drunk quickly. I think you can have so many variations of it. I think you've got when it's on tap, it's beautiful. You can have it in a pub, you can have it in a club. I mean, if you have beer in a club, you're a bit dodgy. But in saying that, it's a very well accepted beer across the world, and cruisers, they're not good, are they? Well, they taste nice, but the appearance of them. I mean, if you can't be. Well, remember when Chib drank when we were at a I think it was our prom. What do we call it? Prom. We're prom, man.
Well, you forgot what it's called. Formal.
Yeah, our formal, our final year 12 formal, and we were at afters, and every guy was grabbing a beer, and every girl was grabbing a cruiser, and our little buddy Chib, he's a little furry fellow, goes in, grabs a cruiser, and every single guy looked at him like he was the biggest pussy alive. Now, I've changed my mind on cruisers. I'm partial to a cheeky cruiser now and then. However, it does give you an appearance of a bit of a, you can't take beer. That's what the appearance that it brings across. And look, you can play beer pong. Beer pong's named after beer, and it's tradition that you should use beer. Now I am sometimes I don't.
Sometimes.
But beer is just such a classical drink that you can drink anywhere, and so many different tastes. You can have a woody flavor. You can have a fruity flavor.
Woody flavor.
You have a fruity sort of flavored beer. Stone and Water, that's a very nice beer. And also, it's very tribal as well. You can't drink 4X in New South Wales? I mean, that's a crime, essentially. So, yeah, it's a lot of tradition, a lot of history. I like tradition and history. So, yeah, that's why beer is superior to cruises or any type of other drink, in my opinion.
So beer is just your favourite drink? Even though
I love beer. Beer is
takes you
the
best part of an hour to finish a schooner of beer.
I don't think that's true.
No, I think it is.
I think you're just making stuff up now. I fully believe beer is a superior drink to anything. I mean, I'd rather have beer over water, to be honest. So yeah, that's
a good argument.
That's my opinion.
Bullshit. That's some of the best bullshitting I've ever seen you do.
So that's a sweet. There you go.
Okay.
I'm brilliant at bullshitting, trust me. So
it should have been better for the HSC.
All right, you talk a bit so while I mix these up.
Okay, so that was a pretty good performance from Zoops. Everyone should leave a rating in the comments what you think it was. I'll just tell you right now, he doesn't even drink beer, so if you believed any of what he said, he must have done a decent job. So yeah. Well, take them out of the bag so I didn't see which ones he took. And then, yeah, put it in your hands under the table. My question's probably a bit easier because I could argue either one pretty decently, I feel. My skills are up to it. Yeah. All right. Lefty loosey. What? Is that even saying? Yeah, left. Give me left.
It's my left?
My left. Okay. Yay. The shittiest flavour. Okay. Thanks, Natural Confectionery.
So, Sidemen are better than... Hang on. So, you've got to argue the point of Beta Squad over Sidemen. Sidemen's more traditional. A very popular YouTube channel. Probably the original sort of group content YouTube channel. You've got to argue that the Beta Squad is better than them, even though their content is not that original. It's just funny. Right. Go ahead.
Okay. So if anyone doesn't know, Sidemen, Beta Squad, they're UK groups of YouTubers that just make videos basically once a week.
You don't need a history lesson.
Well, if you don't know what they are, it's a bit weird, isn't it? But yeah, okay. So Beta Squad are better than Sidemen. Why? Because they're just funnier. All the individuals in Beta Squad are hilarious. If you've ever watched their videos, they're jokes.
Sharky's funnier than KSI?
No. Well, I'd say KSI is pretty funny, but I'd say in general, I think Sharky's funnier than Josh or Vic.
Have you ever seen Vic play Among Us? It gets pretty fucking
annoys me. It doesn't make me laugh.
All right, I'll let you explain.
Yeah, let me explain. All right, the leader of the Beta Squad, Nico Omalana, that guy might be the best content creator on YouTube. Who knows? But he is hilarious. The trolling he does is insane. Chunks is another funny dude. Does a lot of stuff with soccer. Oh, okay. Let me think. Why are they better than the Sidemen? Because their content is more entertaining on a regular basis. I'll say with Sidemen, a lot of their videos don't hit the mark for me. You know, like they do a bunch of mukbangs, or like compilations or shitty shopping videos. The real good Sidemen videos are like the Tinder videos or the holiday videos, and they don't really find enough of a middle ground for me. Some of their content drops off a lot, whereas Beta Squad, a lot of their videos is, or recently at least, is finding certain things out of group of people, like finding the black person or finding what?
Go on.
Yeah, or finding the they've got a girl and you got to find out which dude is her boyfriend or something like that.
Yeah, but it's not original though. That's been done before.
Yeah, but who cares? Nothing on YouTube's original.
Sidemen are original.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Are they?
Mm.
So
GTA was
They don't even make GTA videos.
Yeah, they do.
Barely.
What about $100 holiday versus $10,000 holiday or whatever?
That's sure
original.
that concept has been done before.
Okay, all right, continue.
But yeah,
You got to chew this as well.
Their videos
You got to have the shitty
are
one.
more consistently bangers, in my opinion. Now, the members of Beta Squad.
As you ponder on your thoughts.
They're better than the Sidemen, right? The Sidemen, Harry and KSI are elite, okay? They're top tier. No one can beat them. But after that, I'm like, I would rather have Nico, Chunks,
You just said two people.
Billy. He's not in it.
Billy's not in it.
What's the triangle face? AJ? Is that his name? AJ and Sharky there. Then Vic and Josh and Simon there. I really don't care for the other dudes too much, to be honest. I don't even know, I don't know what I'm talking about anymore.
You got to argue.
Sharky. He also talks about sports. Have you seen his thing?
Yeah.
His podcast about sports. So we can relate on that level. I love people that like sports.
Cool. Sidemen also do a podcast.
Also, Beta Squad are new and improved. Sidemen are a little outdated, you know. The Beta Squad are growing at a much rapider rate. And for this reason, they're better than the Sidemen.
Yeah, good job. Good job, Oscar.
That was actually a lot harder than I thought it would be.
Well, it's very convincing. You sort of...
Was it? It didn't feel convincing.
No, it wasn't, but I thought I'd gas you up. Look, the Sidemen are better, but, I mean, you got the short end of the stick. What can you say?
Yeah. Arguing beer is better than cruisers, that's easy.
Well, it wasn't easy for me, as you explained. So, but yeah, it's a good sort of concept. I think that hopefully we've got to think of more in the future, and it's going to be... I want to think of harsher ones in the future, maybe was... no, I won't say that. I was going to say something really dodgy. But maybe some very harsh sort of opinions, because it is debatable. You can have opinion on Beta Squad versus Sidemen, and you can also have a debate about cruisers or beer. Maybe not necessarily in Australia, but there is a debate to be had, depending on your gender. But look, great chat this week. I think we addressed a lot of the basketball stuff. We had a bit of a fun game at the end. You stole my lollies again, but anyway, that's by the by.
These lollies were free, thanks to Natural Confectionery. They sent us this packet
Thank
of
you,
lollies.
Natural Confectionery. Actually, these are my favourite lollies.
We look forward to working with you in the future.
I thought we were already working with them.
Yeah, continue to work.
But you
with
did say that. You said look forward to working with you.
Yeah, more.
Do you think... I think these are goated, though. If we're going to do it like a tier list of lollies, I think this is goated.
I don't know if they're the best lollies of all time.
I think they are.
They're good.
Well, I mean, in a tier list...
they can't be top, because this is in lemon.
Lemon?
Lemon's dog shit.
No, but that's one... Orange is banging, black currant's banging.
Nah, orange is dog shit as well.
No, orange is...
They have like 3.
What's better
flavors.
then? What's a better lollies? Party mix?
Nah.
Well, okay, in Natural Confectionery, what's better than these? Snakes?
Snakes, yeah.
Snakes are bad.
Sour worms.
Sour worms. No, you can only have like one at a time, because it just becomes like you need to drink like a gallon of water for everything.
Starburst, is that them?
No, it's different. Starburst are overrated. These are the better versions of Starburst.
I don't know. I don't have memory of lollies that much.
I'm a lolly man. More
of a chocolate dude.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that is another discussion for another day, I think. A chocolate tier list. I mean, Galaxy is...
Galaxy?
Yeah,
What
English.
the fuck is that?
English chocolate.
English chocolate?
It's better than Australian...
Not relevant here, is it? You can't eat it here.
Yes, you can.
How?
You bring it over from the UK.
Okay, great.
So you say that I can't physically eat UK chocolate over here,
Well, you can't buy it in a store, so no.
but I can physically eat it here. Oh my god. Well, anyway, it's another debate for another day.
Thanks, Dr. Loophole.
Dr. Luke, how long did it take you to come up with that one? Anyway,
About 2 seconds.
so hopefully next week we'll be discussing some of the future NBA results. See if the Mavs can clear that series before we discuss it next, and hopefully they can. And also see where everything is in the world of sport, because I'll be either as I said before, I'll be very depressed or very happy depending on whether Liverpool win the quadruple or not. So I bid a good farewell to you.
Yeah.
To you all.
Everyone, like and comment and subscribe. Everyone that watches this is your homework.
Homework. Are we teachers
Tell
now?
one friend to listen to this.
You don't want more than one friend?
Everyone,
are we just
no,
aiming for
we'll
one
start
friend?
with one here. We don't want to make them do too much work.
Why don't you just...
if everyone that watches this tells one friend,
Just
we'll double our
one
listeners.
kid.
We'll double our listeners from 3 to 6.
Oh, it's not that bad, man.
And then we do that again next week.
Oh, again, and then it's like a pyramid scheme. It just expands and expands and expands. And all of a sudden we got 20 million
And
viewers
those
an
first
episode.
3 people will give you like
$1 billion.
a Big Mac or something.
A Big Mac? Really? Is that the best you can do? They cost like $2.
Well, they've done nothing for us except tell one friend.
The train ticket to get over here so we could buy them, a Big Mac would be more expensive than that.
Airdrop you the Big Mac.
You'll airdrop a big... How does that even work?
I don't know.
You'll Uber...
I'll
Uber Eats it.
I'll Uber Eats your Big Mac, but you've got to pay for delivery.
Isn't that the whole cost?
No, I'll pay for the Big Mac.
Oh, so you pay so the whole thing would be like $4, but you'll pay half of it. You'll pay for the actual bag. You won't pay for...
Big Mac's like $6 down there.
What?
Yeah.
What has Macca's done? Jesus. It's gone
Expensive.
downhill since you've left.
You were much when I was there, but yeah.
No, you were the king of the joint, weren't you? You
Pretty-
ran it.
Pretty much.
You ran it.
They called me king.
Did they actually?
Yep.
Wow.
That's what it said on my name tag.
Did it say king?
Yep.
King Jewish man. Oscar Sims. The pride and joy
And said King Mac.
of Macca's. Well, I'm glad that you shared that story with us. And as Oscar said, like, subscribe, share, do whatever you want. Have a good week until you see us next. Cheers.
Uh-huh.